Hey everybody, this is Chris. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be installing the upper oil pan as well as the cylinder heads on the E39 M5 wagon. And we're also going to be taking a look at the oil pump assembly to see how it goes together. I'm really excited because this is the first time that we're looking at all the nuts and bolts that are going back on the motor and really getting detailed into what has to happen to put it together. So first, let's take a look at what we've got on the table. So here's what the S62 oil pump looks like disassembled. You can see all of the inner workings, including the oil pump gears, which finally mesh into each other. You can see the shaft, which moves those gears, and here we have all the hardware. I've got all my torque specs here so I can put together the upper oil pan and the cylinder heads today, as well as the oil pump. But unfortunately, we're not going to be putting the oil pump together today because I am missing the little locking pins that get into the shaft here that lock the gear with the shaft. So I think those might be at the bottom of a box somewhere. I just have to go and find them, or if I can't find them, I'll just order them new. But let's take a look at how this works and how it goes together. So the way your average oil pump works is pretty simple. You're gonna have a housing, an outer gear, and an inner. The inner gear is always gonna rest where the shaft goes through, and by spinning, it's going to turn both gears, inner and outer, at the same time. And this is going to essentially trap oil coming in from one side, and it's going to pressurize it and push it out another side. That's the basics of how an oil pump works. The S62 oil pump has 3 sets of gears. So you've got 1, 2, the big main one, and 3, and all of these are going to act to creating high oil pressure, which is needed for the V8 and for the Vanos and for everything else in the engine that's powered by oil pressure. Alright, so now we're going to install the upper oil pan, but first we have to get the scavenger pump tubes installed with the new O-rings, as well as these oil deflection pans, which are just going to keep oil from sloshing around the oil pan so that they're better picked up by the oil pump. In case you were wondering, I like to print my diagrams off of real OEM, so I have a better idea of what I'm doing. Not only do you see where everything will go, but there's also markings that'll show you in what orientation or what order. And then you'll also see the amount of bolts to make sure you have the right amount of bolts installed, as well as like the thread pitch and the length. And then you use this diagram to assemble the upper oil pan. So here we go. So here's the motor with no heads on it. We're gonna peel off the blue masking tape that's covering the cylinders. I'll show you a quick peek inside. Then we're going to bring the heads over here, line them up on the dowels, and secure them down in the torquing procedure per BMW's instructions. So let's get to it. So we're gonna end here. Here's what the upper oil pan looks like installed on the motor. Obviously it's lined up, but we don't have our rear main seal carrier on yet, or the front timing cover, so there's still some surfaces of the oil pan that are exposed. But what we've been doing in the meantime is organizing all the bolts for the rest of the car that we just had that were not sorted out. In the next video, when we're working on this motor, we're gonna go ahead and try to get it in the car. I've got the seals coming for everything on the back of the motor, and then the seals for the oil lines that are going through this motor mount right here. So we'll show you that installed, so that hopefully we'll be able to get the motor in the car soon. I know that we are all excited, aren't we, Goose, to get this motor in the car. It's gonna save a lot of space in the garage, and we'll finally get a better picture of how everything's gonna look. I think it'll be really cool to have the motor in the car to show you how to work on it, because that's how most people are gonna be working on their S62. So let's get that installed in the next video. Until then, like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you think. I appreciate each and every one of you watching our videos and following along on the build of this wagon. I can't wait to get it started up, but obviously between now and then we've got a lot more things to do, so stay tuned and I'll see you in the next video.